Hi there, it's Jennifer. Just want to talk a little bit about love. You know, it's kind of nebulous because so many of us have experienced what we thought was love, um, but really what it was attachment or fear of being alone and having someone that loves us or having someone near us. Or even sometimes we confuse love with understanding, someone that understands us. In reality, love is the fabric of life. Love is how anything gets created. Um, in fact, for me, love itself showed up the other day with my dad. It was really beautiful. My dad was going for cancer treatments, and one of his buddies just phoned him up out of the blue and said, "Hey, here you're going for some treatments." Um, he hadn't seen my dad in about a year. And this man said, "I want to drive you. I totally get what it's like to go through those kinds of treatments." And my mom was the one that relayed the message to my dad, and my dad was so touched. And he didn't show it very much, but that really is an act of love. What is an act of love then? It's an act of generosity. So love, first thing is, love is generous. I just really want to emphasize that true love is always generous. It wants to give itself away constantly. So the next thing I wanted to share about love was the idea that it's also infectious. Like why is it so infectious? Because we want more. So my sweetie and I walked into the office for, this area that we're in. And we walked in, there's a woman, Sandy, and Sandy saw us being total idiots, total goofballs. We were just loving on life and having a good time. We were talking about some of our Facebook friends, in fact, maybe you. And she was just infected. And she found one of these gift bags with a whole bunch of Hershey's Kisses in it and gave it to us. And then before we walked out at the door, because we had her laughing so hard, she actually gave us 2 bags of Hershey Kisses. Little did she know that we're on a ketogenic diet where we can't have that stuff. That's okay. We pass them on, right? So love is not only generous, it's also infectious. The last thing I want to say that's really interesting is that for me, love is also expressed through creativity. Now, there is one other aspect of love that I want to share, and that is we're surrounded by it. It is the fabric of life. So, for instance, I was outside the other day, and I always get so present to every green thing that I'm walking in is breathing out what I'm breathing in. I would not be able to breathe except for the plants around me. What an unconditional act of love. Now imagine if we were present to that all the time. Imagine if you were present to all that all the time. I don't know how many tree huggers there are out there. If you're someone like that, probably part of the instinct you have about how much love there is available in the instinct that you have such an affinity for nature is probably because of your connection to the love that it has for you. It's infectious, right? So the third characteristic, before I get to the creative characteristic, is that love just is. You're surrounded by it. You're alive because of it. Those plants are loving on you all the time. If you were present to that all the time, imagine if you were present to that all the time. We get so caught up in life. Every day is Valentine's Day. There's a tree in love with you as we speak. Every day. What if you looked at them differently? So the last piece is around creativity. We were in a team meeting today. It was the same as all team meetings. Our team really adores and loves each other, and adores and loves all of you as well, because I share all the stories from Facebook and from our private pages where all the fun happens and stuff. And I was talking about one of the stories from our playground page. By the way, if you haven't joined that, it's www.facebook.com/groups with an S /TWA playground. And there are all sorts of bridge building stories there of how we as humanity we have the opportunity to find compassion and understanding for each other, which leads me to the creativity. So I was talking to our general manager and to my sweetie pie, Adam, and we were talking about the idea of being the bridge. In these times of great change where there's so many, I'm going to call them catalyzing events, where people seem very polarized and divided and they have opinions, we can either get down and we can get depressed and we can feel powerless. Or we can actually see, there was a time in my life where I was feeling that way because I was working with street kids and I thought there was absolutely no hope. But I had a choice. I either would stop feeling at all, which means I would stop feeling love, and I would stop feeling pain. I just was going to stop feeling. But I didn't decide to do that. I actually decided to take all of the energy of the catalyzing, disempowerment, frustration, kicking and screaming, and use it towards my creativity. And it was actually then that TWA really started. And it wasn't just that. Even today on the TWA meeting, we're sitting there and I can feel some density come up or worry or something like that. And one of my colleagues, Jeannie, started to send me messages that just made me laugh so hard. And they were creative, they were funny, they were hilarious, and they just took me out of that headspace. The same way when I was working with those street kids, I started to get ideas about what I could do to make a difference on the planet. What I could do, which, by the way, everything I'm doing with you right now is part of that. So when love can either guide your mind or your ego and your fears guide your mind. Let me say that again. Love can guide your mind, or fears you can get ideas in order to protect yourself, or you can get ideas to expand love. I'm going to tell you it's so much easier because you're in the flow with all of consciousness in the universe to get ideas that expand love and consciousness and good things in the world. So what ended up happening is we came up with this idea for a campaign called #BeTheBridge. And I would love it if you would use that hashtag in your posts. Love you right back. If you would use that hashtag in your posts, and also tag me in #BeTheBridge for anything that you do or a neighbor does, or you tell a story that you know you're just keeping to yourself, but it really needs to get out there in the world, or you hear a story on Facebook, and just put #BeTheBridge so that we can expand those places that we all have in common, where there's mutual understanding, where bridges are built, where compassion is built, where there are ideas to make the world a better place. I'd really... So creativity, even just that little hashtag, which I barely even understand hashtags, even that little hashtag is a creative idea that came simply from love. So in summary, I just wanted to share, first of all, remember that when you're in creative flow, you're in love. Love is infectious. And what happens when we are being in love, when we're being in that space, is it's infectious. Other people want to do more. When Adam and I were playing around, the lady in the office gave us bags and bags of Hershey's Kisses. It was crazy. And the other thing is that love is also extremely it's in the fabric of life. It's all around, and it connects us to the flow of consciousness. So it wants to expand, and the trees are breathing out what you're breathing in. So you are surrounded constantly by unconditional love that keeps you alive. So how about them apples?